Dear friends, I share with you a heart reflection, and it's looking at coping with a broken heart. Only yesterday I read a beautiful email from a dear friend who was sharing with me their deep inner sadness at the potential parting of the ways of their beloved. And part of that was down to depression. Their beloved had difficulty making a commitment due to the impact of a depressive illness on their life, leaving my dear friend in a place of vulnerability, helplessness and deep sadness. But as Shakespeare said, better to have loved and lost than not to have loved at all. And you know, I read something many years ago that said love is a tough love, and love is learning to let go. That's not easy when one's emotions are caught up in the moment, and when one had dreams of a future with their intended. I know I was in a similar situation when, as a young nursing monk, I left my order and I was pursuing my career as a student nurse, and I fell in love with one of the student nurses, Linda. It was just an amazing experience, but it never worked out. And there came a time to be truthful. And in sharing that truth, there was a lot of pain and a lot of sadness. And then 30 odd years later, Linda, we discovered, was happily married and had found peace and love at last. And I had found peace and love as a monk. So there is a time when we are brought together for a purpose. And it may not be that we will be together forever, but it may be that we each have something to share with one another. It may be a word, it may be an experience, it may be a sentiment. But you know, the old wise saying of a dear old brother monk said, man's disappointment today is God's appointment for our tomorrow. Let me read to you this reflection for the day. Despite all these things, overwhelming victory is ours through the cosmic Christ. Just as there is a condition known as post-traumatic stress, researchers are now talking about post-traumatic growth. One line of thinking is that adversity can lead to growth. Another is that the highest levels of growth cannot be achieved without adversity. But adversity doesn't automatically bring growth. Much of the outcome depends on how you respond to adversity. Ernest Hemingway wrote, "Sooner or later the world breaks everyone. And those who are broken are strongest in the broken places." Sometimes that's true, but sometimes people write beautiful things and believe them to be true, or hope they're true, and yet they don't help. Hemingway himself had a brokenness that ended his life because the pain was too great. On the other hand, Joseph, who was betrayed by his family, falsely accused of rape and unjustly imprisoned, looked back and said, God intended it all for good. The key to post-traumatic growth is in seeing God in all things, drawing close to Him, trusting Him when you can't understand the situation, and knowing He only has your best interests at heart. When it comes to serving God, there are two sides to the coin, success and suffering. We like the first and try to avoid the second. How true. But they're both part of God's plan. God called Paul into the ministry saying, I will show him how much he must suffer for my name's sake. But hard times didn't make Paul doubt his faith or the God he served. No, despite all things, overwhelming victory is ours through the cosmic Christ whom we love. All sounds very pious, doesn't it, when you're hurting? But let me share with you, for every traumatic experience, day follows night. And we each go through that dark night of the soul where we are thrown as if among lions. And we feel so helpless and vulnerable, don't we? And I've had many such moments in my life where you befriend someone in trust, and then you discover that they say all kinds of nasty things about you. And I remember leaving school aged 11, forfeiting an education to care for my young baby brother. And it was as if I was his parent. I did everything but breastfeed him because I loved him. And because my mum was in long-stay hospitalization due to an illness. And I had 7 other young brothers and sisters to care for. And this young brother I loved, and the hardest thing for me when I left home to enter a monastic order in '66 was saying goodbye to my little brother, who was only 6. Yeah, broke my heart. I cried many tears for him because I was so used to holding him to my chest, getting his wind up, changing his nappies, feeding him, loving him. And then one day he turned sour. And all because I exposed a truce to do with a family issue. He and his wife put me on the internet as a scammer, an evil person. And I received many emails from people saying, are you the brother Sean that's on Google, that's on this, that and the other, who was sacked from nursing for sleeping with patients, who was sacked from the monastery for sleeping with monks, and that you're a charlatan and a hypocrite. Yes, those words hurt, because it's from one I love. I still love, but I don't like. And I forgive, and I've moved on. But it is they I feel sorry for. What drove them to that? It clearly was pride, because they'd been found out in a fault, a grievous fault. And instead of saying sorry, they retaliated, which most people do. But even as a monk, we've had members of our community who've joined and who behave most dishonorably by creating bad feeling, spreading all sorts of malicious gossip because they had an agenda. And that's life. But let's come back to mending the broken heart. As a Catholic Christian, I would suggest bringing the Christ in. But if you are not a Catholic Christian, say a Buddhist, invite the Lord Buddha, or a Hindu or Sikh, invite your spiritual masters. If you're a Muslim, the Prophet Muhammad, Osho, Mir Baba, Rumi. Let us be still. Let us find a quiet place where we are. And let's focus on our in-breaths. And as we breathe in, be aware of nature's love for you, Gaia's love for you. Feel her love balancing, strengthening and restoring and realigning all of your chakras in your body. And in your out breath, release your fear, your sadness to Mother Earth. Just be still now. And I would like you to visualize the one who has hurt you sat next to you. They have no control over you. They cannot touch you. For between you and they is the cosmic Christ, or your spiritual teacher. And though your heart is pounding and you appear fearful, anxious and afraid, the cosmic Christ takes your hand, and the one who wounded you, rejected you, their hand, and is holding their hand with yours. And though there's no physical contact between you and your beloved who hurt you, it is the cosmic Christ who unites you in a spirit of reconciliation, so that your parting is amicable, loving and selfless. And the cosmic Christ now releases into both of you a powerful love that allows you self-heal the brokenness, the woundedness, the rejection. And his healing love is flowing through his hand into your hand, right up to your mind, erasing all painful memories and words, and down into your heart, repairing the brokenness, the sadness, and down and out through your feet, a blessing to Mother Earth for grounding you, earthing you, protecting you. And with every in-breath that you breathe, you are aware that you are being transformed from one who has been broken, rejected, forlorn, even maybe despised, to now being received and welcomed. And the Christ takes your hand and that of the one who hurt you and brings them together and holds them like a butterfly's wings or a nun's hands closed in prayer. And he breathes a blessing on both of you and asks you now to take back your power, to reclaim your divinity as a child of the light, to bless one another, to thank one another for the experiences, and that good will now come from all of that pain and negativity, and just sense a blessing coming upon you. It's a liberating energy where you no longer see your beloved, your former partner, or the one who hurt you, with resentment and anger, but love. And you say, I forgive you, I bless you. Go in peace to love and serve your God. And the Christ hugs the two of you and releases you back to where you are now. Sense the peace, sense the liberation, the freedom from all that negativity and hurt, and your heart has been cleansed and realigned with your highest good. Be at peace now. Be at peace in the presence of God, and allow the angels, the messengers of love, administer joy to you so that you can pick yourself up now and go forward into the new day with a renewed commitment that I am a child of God, that I am loved, whole, perfect, and complete. Thank you. Bless you. Be strong. Namaste.